Hello and welcome to this video. Today we're going to compare these two semi-automatic espresso machines. This is the Breville or Sage Barista Express Impress, and this one right here is the Delonghi Specialista Opera model. Now these two machines have some similarities, and that's why I'm going to compare them. The main thing is they both have integrated grinders, which is nice. They have integrated tampers, which makes things nice and easy. It keeps your countertop clean and everything also. So let's just get started with a practical comparison here. I'm going to start with the Breville. Now both these machines have been on for a while, and I can feel it's a little bit warm up here, but it's not warm enough to actually warm up cups. So therefore I don't have any cups on here. But the portafilter itself is pretty warm, and that's nice. It's an advantage that the Express Impress has over time. After, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes, it starts to warm up the portafilter, which I think is a good thing. I've got a double basket in here. I always use a double basket for myself, and this is 54 millimeters in diameter. So let's just make ourselves a shot. It's very simple. Just put the portafilter in the cradle like that. Press the dose button here. It grinds for you. Then all you do is tamp with it in the cradle. Look at that. I'm even at the green right here. So that means that the volume is proper. Give it a second there. You can actually see the portafilter move just a little bit. There's a little barista polish, they call it. And look at that. That's my finished puck. Now for this basket and this grind size, I'm at 15, by the way, on the outer dial, and on the inner collar, I'm at a setting of 3. I'm getting about 18 grams here in the basket. Then I'll put this in the machine and we'll pull ourselves a shot. Now I am going to use a scale in this case so that I get a proper comparison between these two machines, but of course you don't have to use a scale. You can just eyeball it and stop it where you want to stop it. I am, however, going to do one thing. I'm going to enter manual mode by pressing and holding the button down. And the reason is because this machine, although it has volumetric dosing on it, it's not that accurate. I was testing it yesterday. I set the shot for 35 grams, but I got on the subsequent shots 28 grams, 21 grams, and it's just not very accurate. So I'm going to press and hold. And here we go. Then once I get to about 35 grams, I'm going to stop it. All right, 35 grams right there. That is the shot on our Express Impress. Looks good. It's full of crema. The reason being, of course, I'm using nice fresh beans. That is a must. Okay, and I got the grind dialed in. I got the right dose. Very convenient. Let's try it now on the Opera, and then we'll make a comparison. Now on the Delonghi, this is 51 millimeters in diameter. So that's something that people often ask. Delonghi's always 51 millimeters. I've also got a double basket in there. So I'm gonna press the ×2 button here, and I'm also getting right around 17 to 18 grams here. And this is time-based. I think that the La Specialista is a little faster. And one thing I should also mention, I'm at a grind setting of 9 here on the outside, and on the inside there is no other adjustment. There's 15 grind settings on this grinder, and there's 25 on the Breville machine. So when I pull this lever down, however, I want to show you something. The lever here, it feels less robust than on the Barista Express Impress, and you'll actually notice that it affects the machine foot somehow. It's like the foot kind of moves as you're pressing down. That's a little strange. So anyway, for the polish here, you're supposed to remove the puck like that, or remove the portafilter like that, and that's what your puck looks like. Then you can put the lever back up into place. This portafilter, by the way, does not get heated up over time. I don't feel any extra warmth on it, even though this machine has been on for about an hour. Now this machine does a little bit better with the volumetric dosing, but I'm gonna stop it also at 35 grams to have an accurate comparison. Okay, again, a shot full of crema there. We're gonna let that just sit a moment. We're gonna stir these and we're gonna have a look. All right, so giving them both a stir. Barista Express Impress. Fully chocolatey, nice extraction, pretty well balanced. Let's try this one in comparison from the Opera. It's really close, to be honest. Also very chocolatey, nice and well-rounded. So what I will say is that in this comparison, these two shots are very close. They're both chocolatey, they're both well-balanced. They both bring out a certain sweetness, almost a little bit like an almond flavoring. And I would say that one just a tiny bit more in the Opera shot. But again, they're very close. What I do find, however, after having used these machines, this one for 2 years and this one for the last month or so, is that I'm slightly preferring the shots from the Opera because they feel a little bit more balanced, a little bit more well-rounded on the Opera. One thing to mention before moving on to milk steaming is you can set the temperature on both of these. However, it's more intuitive on the Opera. For the Breville machine, you've got to turn it off. You got to hold down all the buttons, then press the on button. And then it shows you what temperature you're at. So this is 93. You can also set it for 94, 95, 92, or 91. On the Opera, it's much easier. All you have to do is set the lower one is 92, the middle one is 94, the top one is 96. So that's very simple. I generally set mine at 94, but the good thing is you can set both these up a little bit if you're using something more on the lighter side of medium. Now let's see how each of these are for steaming. What I will say about both of them is that they're both a little on the slow side. It takes time. I'm gonna turn it on right now. It takes a bit of time. You can see that the temperature light here is blinking. And yeah, it takes between 15 and 20 seconds to warm up to steaming temperature. You can see it's on an articulating joint here. And it does take me a good, I would say 60 seconds or so to heat up the milk. I generally do about 200 milliliters or 8 ounces of milk. But I'd say that's average. Most thermoblock machines, they do take about 1 minute to steam up that amount of milk for me. Now this one you have to wipe off immediately. There's two things to mention here. If you don't wipe off this steam wand right away, that milk gets crusted on there and it becomes really gross. The other thing is, you just heard it automatically cool the thermoblock down, which is nice, good feature. But the Express Impress is a bit more of a water hog. It goes through more water doing that than the Opera. But in the end, they both make really silky, delightful milk. No problems there. Now let's do it on the Opera and see what that looks like one time. So the Opera has got a dial on the side. All you gotta do is turn the dial. And again, there's also a delay there. Okay, there we go. So I'd say they both provide a good amount of power for getting a nice whirlpool going. No issues there. It's getting pretty hot already. Okay, so the advantage of this one is it's a non-Bernstein one. See that? I could just wipe it off. It's all gone. Very simple. And that's certainly an advantage that the Opera has over the Express Impress. Okay, so they both make pretty silky milk. I've got no problems making really tasty latte macchiatos, cappuccinos, flat whites with either of these machines. Both very good. I think where the advantage really comes in for me for the Opera, however, is with the different drinks that you can do with it. So for example, there's a selection on here for an Americano. And when you get your puck prepared, then all you have to do is put the cup underneath the spouts. The water spout is right next to it. Press the OK button, and you got your Americano coming out, which is nice. Don't even have to move the cup. On the other hand, with the Express Impress, this water spout is too far away from the cup for that to work. So you would have to do your shot first and then move it over to get your water. It's no big deal, but it's just more convenient on the Opera. One of the things that I really appreciate about the Opera, and the reason that I would choose it over the Express Impress, is really for the option of the coffee crema. So I really enjoy coffee cremas. I usually will make myself one first thing in the morning, and I like that there's an option for it on here. It also does it in a different manner than the espresso. There's no pre-infusion. It just goes to town with the pressure, and I really like that. There isn't an option for that on the Express Impress. Additionally, there's cold drinks on here, so if you're into using your espresso machine for cold brew or for a cool espresso, you can do that too. And another really nice comfort feature is, as you can see right here, it says low water. So the water tank has got a sensor in it on the Delonghi, which I really, really appreciate. The Breville does not, and that is super annoying when you're about to run out of water because you cannot really see the water tank from the front of the machine. It's happened to me very often that I start a shot and it just aborts. It runs out of water and you have to throw that shot away, basically. So I really like the fact that it's got a water sensor. It's also got a bean sensor, by the way. And that brings me to a positive and a negative thing. There's two photo eye sensors in here looking for beans. So that's kind of cool. So it will tell you, hey, fill up your beans so that you have enough for your next shot. The unfortunate thing is you can't remove this bean hopper. It doesn't remove. So you don't have access to the burrs. You can't clean the container. That's annoying. The one here on the Breville, on the other hand, look at that. You can just remove it just like that. Super simple. And what's cool about that is if you would buy a second one of these hoppers, well, you could put decaf in the second one if you wanted, or a different coffee or whatever. So that's a nice advantage that you can remove it on the Express Impress. While we're talking about advantages and disadvantages, I might as well say that I prefer the drip tray here on the Express Impress. It's cool because it's really easy to wipe down and it's got a large capacity. And look at that. It even pulls out this little cubby hole so that you got storage for your stuff. How nice is that? That is a really cool feature. Let me dump this right away. So drip tray is really nice here on the Express Impress. And on the Opera, it's fine, but it's dimensioned a bit small and it's not really designed to hold back the water all that well. So I've spilled this before a couple of times. This does have a delightful little feature though. Look at this, you can flip down a cup tray. So if you wanna make an espresso, just put it on that tray and then flip it back up. It holds itself magnetically to the back plate. That's cool. So yeah, I'd say that's about it for using these two machines. Now you guys let me know, what do you think? Which one is better? They're priced about the same. They're both made in China. This is Australian design. This is Italian design. I'll tell you this much. I would probably pick the Opera because of a couple of nice features, including the coffee crema, the easy way to make an Americano, a better water spout, and also an easier way to set the temperature. My wife still prefers the Express Impress. She just much prefers the way that this one looks over the Opera. And they're both easy to use, to be honest. I hope the video was helpful. Until next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.